All right. Good talk. All right. Anyway, so moving right
You're talking to
along.
me? Oh, hi.
Well, your name
Morning.
is Nick,
I was
right?
clicking the wrong thing, so it was a lot of fun over here.
Okay. Well, anyways, let's well, yeah, we're
I didn't
going.
keep
no
their
doubt.
microphones.
No
I didn't want
doubt.
them. You guys aren't allowed to talk this morning.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well,
All right.
the
Well, I
slides
wasn't allowed
aren't
to talk
the
at the
slides
event
aren't
the other
working
night
for me.
either. So
Yeah, everything just shut down.
All right. Well, anyway, so great time. Good to have everybody. A little sneak peek that we got coming up today,
Right,
maybe.
I'll hit that.
Anyways, I know we got Todd Menard here to give us a look at the numbers. Justin Frederick with the Frederick team here to give us our mortgage minute. I'm going to share. This is I think, one of the coolest ideas I've ever come up with, and been doing it for years, and can't believe that I've never shared this on the podcast. So 3 tips to building an ambassador referral group. It's not what you think.
no, it's not.
It's a little deeper, and so it's been incredibly successful for us. And then we have Don Jakowski with Fidelity Title here. He's going to talk about 5 tools and programs that they have that will generate more income for you. As
Like
always, if you could use it right now, like right this second. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to email us at podcast@WestUSA. One announcement for this week: we got a big watch party going on at the Chandler location on Thursday from 9 to 11:30 in the morning with Brian Buffini. So he's always got some great information, especially some insight into how the market is doing and where it is going. So join the Chandler office on Thursday morning.
And not to mention that guy, if nobody has ever heard Morgan Housel speak, you need to listen to him. Anybody, you know me, I like behavioral assessments. So he just deals into the psychology of it. It's great. Real estate, that is.
All right. Well, anyways, that is going on this Thursday. All right, Todd, take it away. What do we got
Jump right
going on
there.
in the market? Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Today we're going over the Greater Phoenix Metropolitan Market statistics for the week ending July 27th. Let's see what we got. 80 days closed on market this past week, a 4.34 months supply. Absorption rate was at 23.05. Average list price this past week, $708,429. Average sale price this past week, $569,630. And our list price to sale price retention came in at 97.32. Looking at active inventory, continuing to decline down to 24,589. Pending is at 3657 and closed units month to date at 4754. New listings taken this past week, significantly lower than we need, but 1,697 properties were added. 92 is our days on market for active and 80 for closed. Lower left-hand side gives us the price ranges month to date on all of the active inventory that's out there. So you get a chance to see the number of units in that category, the days on market for that category, and the percentage of the total inventory that category represents. As far as 0 to 600,000, that's representative of 68.40% of the MLS. 600 to 1 million is 19.19, and those properties that are a million and up are at 12.41. We always talk about the market taking off and prices going up, and the cost of everything is more expensive. And just looking at the total numbers here, if you look at that bottom number, 12.41, so properties that are over $1 million. Now, I've been doing this since 1998. Doing these market statistics, and I can tell you that on average over this whole period of time, $1 million and up properties have always represented somewhere between 9 to 11%. So 12.41, 1.5% more isn't really that dramatic of an increase, but again, just so that everybody understands where the prices fall. So we look at the spreadsheet where everybody gets to be the expert. We have week over week, month over month, same period last year, all on one sheet for you. So new listings taken. Way over on the left-hand side, we have rules of thumb for those of you who might be new. So what we're trying to do is accomplish those numbers on the categorical sides on the left, because that would say we're in a really super market, but it's more importantly, it's the last 5-year historical average number. So for the last 5 years, historically, we've been averaging about 2,400 per month. Per week in new listings taken. So 1697 isn't really all that exciting. But when we look at this number a little bit to the left, we see 1647 is where we were last year, same period. But 2 years ago, we only did 1500. So again, we're looking for the silver lining if we can, but we're also looking to identify trend. the market is very similar to what it was last year for the sellers from that perspective. Looking at active inventory, we're sitting at 24,589. That's up just a little bit, of course, week over week, down just a little bit week over week. But 24,956 is what we had last year. So we're about the same inventory. 2 years ago, we didn't have quite as much. But of that inventory, 498 of those are in the coming soon category. 18,652 are single family detached. 2,516 are new home construction properties. Again, fell out of escrow spec, maybe a production model, move-in ready, or again, maybe even a builder trying to incentivize people to come out to a new community. That's what that number represents. Obviously, there's many more new homes for sale out there. Non-distressed is at 23,997 overall. That's 97.6% of the entire MLS. Looking at pending is the number of buyers in the market at any one time, as listings are talks about the confidence that sellers have putting the property on the market, getting their price, walking away maybe from that 3%, first mortgage, but they feel confident they can find a new product and move into that. Pending is the buyers in the marketplace. So at any one time, what is the pending number? So 3657 this particular week, down just a little bit. That's good. That means some of them probably closed, not necessarily fell out of escrow. 3629 is where we were last year. Again, very, very similar numbers. 3,435 a year ago. Closed activity for the month is at 4754. We were at 4711 last year, same period. So again, we're still similar, but what we're really looking for is we're looking for another green month. If you slide your eyes to the right and you see the two blues, that's usually when I give you the blue columns. That's when I give you the month over month statistics once a month. And during that particular time, you see that 7.61 better in the market this past year than the year before, 4.31 the month before that. And so we're really looking to finish 2026 strong because we started 2026 soft. So if it all works the way the numbers say they're going to work, then the fourth quarter will end up being just as good as the third quarter, and that's saying a lot for the for the real estate industry. But the numbers are there that support that. So we get down to the statistical thing, which is 4.34 months supply, about similar to what we had last month, similar to what we had last year. Look way over a little bit further to the right in the goldenrod, 2.63. That's saying that we were obviously significantly in a seller's market. You remember that. We all remember that 2 years ago. Well, we're not in that market right now. But we're at 4.34, so we're still hovering really close to that 4 number, and 4 and under is a seller's market, and 6 and over is a seller's market. But again, these are just some of the numbers so that we understand. And like we say, if you're representing a buyer, you come from the perspective of it's a buyer's market, period. That's your diligence. That's your job. When you're representing a seller, you come from that position of it's a seller's market. I'm going to get my seller all the money I can possibly get for this particular property. Again, within reason, showing comps. And so, taking that into consideration, knowing what the real market is tells you what you're going to end up expecting. If you can win because you're a better negotiator, super. But because that's the market we're in, to the victor goes the spoils. The person who negotiates the best right now is the one who's going to get the better deal. And that's just the way the market goes. And it's good because, 4 months supply, 3 to 3.5 is a sweet spot. So, again, we're in a good position. 80 days on market is, hovering right in that 78 to 80 days. That's good. That's also stable. Look at the salmon colored column, still similar to last year. So what we should be feeling in the marketplace and what sellers should be experiencing and buyers should be experiencing, at least since through last year and moving into this year, is a form of familiarity with what's going on. Nothing that's jumping out as saying, oh my gosh, Chicken Little's falling, the sky's falling, we're back to 9%, or is it going the other way? Prices were not heading, if you listen to all the national economists, we're not heading for any type of a further price reduction. If anything, we now are this year starting to move that needle back into that 4 to 4.5% annual appreciation. But that's what we got for the numbers this week.
All right.
So all I heard, we are in a buyer's market.
That's what I heard. If you represent buyers, there you go, Justin, right? Yeah, for you, that's what you need.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody. Live audience.
All right. Good morning, everybody. All right. So interest rates last week did go up. We did see every day last week, we saw rates go up, but we're still in the 6s. I like that. So let's let's stay there. But yeah, 30-year fixed 6.875 is probably the market rate for conventional loans. FHA 30-year fixed about I would say it's more like 6.375. And then our VA loans are probably in the range of 6.125. So not as high as it shows on that sheet there, but that's the average market rates. Sure. Let's go to the next one. All right. Today we're talking about
that wasn't my fault.
The condo space. I pressed the wrong button.
That's when you just start lip syncing and let everybody think the button.
Yeah.
Just Nick.
So we're going to be experiencing some major changes in the condo area for HOAs. So condo finance changes are here for TRID applications starting on or after August 3rd. So if we're getting in applications, meaning under contract, that's when we're triggering these loans. August 3rd or after, you're going to be experiencing some changes here. The headline: condo reviews get more documentation heavy. The streamline condo review is being eliminated. So as of today, if you were to put 10% down on a condo association, we're doing a streamline review. We're not looking into reserves. We're not looking into budget. We're not looking into fidelity bond insurance. But that streamline review is going to be eliminated on August 3rd. So it's not going to be available any longer. This is for conventional loans only. The reserve study requirements are going to be enhanced. Reserve studies are going to now carry more weight when showing HOA reserve adequacy. And that was one of the things that we got rid of with the streamlined 10% down. That will still remain. So currently you're going to have reserves at 10%. And that's 10% of the monthly income that the HOA receives. So that comes from the HOA dues. Fidelity bond insurance applies when required or projects requiring a full review must meet applicable fidelity bond coverage standards. Fidelity bond insurance is basically an insurance policy that covers operating expenses and reserves. So to make sure that there's no theft or fraudulent activity happening, and so that insurance policy covers that. Why agents should care: HOA budgets and financials will now be reviewed on every condo loan. This is a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
A lot of times we wouldn't get an approval for a condo association, and we were able to get a client to put more down to go back to the limited review and get the association approved. So if you're involved with an HOA, I would make sure that they know, the HOAs know this is coming down.
What can a seller do to know ahead of time? Like, what should we be telling our sellers if we're about to list a condo? We don't want to wait till we're 10 days into this to find out that the HOA is no bueno.
So, I mean, the big thing about condos is some HOAs are very responsive and some are not. So I would start communication with a condo.
Is there a place where we can go to
the association?
Well, I meant like, okay, how much in reserves does a condo need, and what are you looking for that I can, as a seller, be asking?
So we send in a questionnaire, and this questionnaire basically states how many units do you have, and we can look that up. How much do you have in reserves? Have you gone through your 2026 budget? Is your 2027 being worked on? Let us get a copy of your minutes if you haven't had the budget. There's not a whole lot that you can do in advance unless the association is approved. Now, we don't have any communication back from Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae right now if they're going to allow approved associations that were based on current guidelines continue to go through. So if there was an approved association as of right now, we wouldn't have to do any work on it.
Gotcha.
But we don't know if on August 3rd, and I know that's only a week off, we don't know on August 3rd if they're going to continue to accept those. So we haven't got that communication back.
I like what Mike said when he was talking about, he said, well, what is the standard percentage for capital improvement funds that HOAs are required to have? And there are actual requirements that HOAs have.
Well, your reserve is 10% currently.
But you can go and you can ask if it's professionally managed,
Yeah.
you can go to the professionally managed part of it, but a lot of times if they're not, that's really where this problem's coming from.
Well, and they all charge us. So I don't know if they'll charge a homeowner, but
Be worth it.
here you go. How to guide your buyers through the change. Use update as a reason to educate early, protect timelines, and avoid surprises. Agent action plan. Set expectations early. Condos may need more complete project review and HOA documentation. Ask about HOA financials, budget, reserves, insurance. Projected stability can affect the financing. Loop us in before offer for strategy. We can review options, questions, potential friction points up front. But a look ahead. So we were just talking about 10% reserves. They've already told us as of January of 2007, they're going to be taking that 10% reserve and requiring 15%. So that's a big,
which means everybody's
big
HOA
number.
dues are going up if you're in a condo.
100%.
Yeah.
Because they're
a
not going to be
special
able to
assessment.
collect that 5%
Yeah,
and put it
yeah.
aside. They're going to have operating expenses. Already in effect from March of this year. No investor concentration limits. ACV roofs permitted. Simplified insurance deductibles. 2 to 10 unit projects require insurance review only unless part of the master association. And actually, the 2 to 10 units are not required to have insurance review. But I can say that you can go after project approval up front. I will say that typically it's about $250 to get a conventional approval. If your condo association is not approved through FHA, it typically costs about $775. And that can take up to 90 days to
how long does an approval last?
Good question. I believe it's about a year.
Okay.
All right. I don't have that answer, and I should have had that answer coming in here. But if you email me questions, I'm happy to get you specific
I'm emailing
answers.
you, buddy.
Yeah. We also we didn't list it on here, but Fairway is having a Zoom call for our agents. Anybody's welcome to join. You can email us or use the QR code over here to connect with us. Amy will be setting you guys up if you want to take the class. It's on August 3rd. And I believe it's at 10 a.m.
What's it on?
It's on all this condo information.
Okay, gotcha.
But my condo desk is going to be running this. And they're going to be speaking to everybody as if they're agents. And so it can be very helpful for you. And there's going to be some Q&A. So if you have these types of questions, jump in there, contact us. We'll get you in touch with Amy to get you set up for this August 3rd class.
Can you get us that flyer, Justin? I'd love to get that out to all the agents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate
absolutely. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, Justin. Good stuff. All right. So I teased this earlier. So Todd, a question for you.
Sure.
So if I have an unlicensed person send me their buddy to buy a home, can I give this unlicensed person a kickback?
Of course not.
Okay. I want to start off with this because I don't want anyone to be confused with this topic this morning. And because, I don't want to get yelled at, and I want to make sure that all our brokers know that I started this off right.
Yeah. Nice
and
job.
understanding the rules.
I'm impressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it, folks. All
Hey,
right.
look, it's the first time.
Yeah.
All right. So Ambassador Referral Group. So this is not what you think. We all come across people that send us referrals, And at some point in most of our careers, we have had someone come up to us and say, "Hey, I've sent you John and Susie, and I've sent you this. How about a little something, something?" And a lot of agents are still confused and they think that's okay. I've never been willing to put my license on the line for it.
I wouldn't either.
But identify people who can send you referrals. And so this is a program that Ryan and I started years ago, because we do have people that send us multiple referrals every single year and would send us more if we can incentivize them with money the legal way.
Of course.
So we're looking for people who are connected, meaning they know people. We're looking for people who are motivated by money, which is just about most people.
Most people.
But a lot of times, an introvert, can be a little bit more challenging. Like I could offer my wife the sun and the moon and the stars, and she would never introduce me to anyone. But look for people who will come work for you. And so what we're going to do is we're going to identify these people in our sphere of influence, and then what we're going to do is say, okay, I want to give you money for your referrals. These are people that aren't necessarily going to be those that are going to put people in the car and ever going to write a contract, but they're really good at talking and they're really good at introducing people. So we encourage these people. Okay, we'd love to pay you. I will gladly pay you 25% or whatever the case is, but you got to have your real estate license. I'm not going to pay you if you are not licensed. So we have sent a lot of people to real estate school just to get their license. So again, as a reminder, you can't give anyone any type of referral fee or money who are unlicensed.
Or any gift, anything worth anything.
Right. Well, yeah, that's a problem because I'm just good at people love hanging out with me. That's worth a lot of money.
Yeah. Well,
and you can't put money on that. But look for people who want to get paid, but not interested in doing the work of a real estate agent. You're not putting together a team of licensed agents. They're just people who want to get financially compensated, and then just have them get the real estate license.
The neatest thing was you said you've been directing people to go get their real estate license for that specific purpose. Because I don't know if you guys remember way back when, but the whole point was working your sphere of influence. Part of that was the old-fashioned way of identifying who in your sphere is the most likely to potentially be in a situation or the kind of caliber or behavioral assessment that's going to be potentially referring you the greatest amount of business of the other people in your sphere. And if you could identify those would be the people you spend a lot more time with. They used to call it romancing back then, but that's, can get kind of sideways today. But creating that relationship with them more than, are these people that you would, maybe invite to your house, or these people that you invite to events that you have, or these people that, you hardly ever talk to, but they're just so super social that, they're just coming in contact with lots of people. But you're absolutely right. There gets to be a point where people are like, oh my gosh, are you asking me to go to work for you? That's a lot of work for me to constantly be keeping you in the back of my head. And, and if I bump into somebody who's talking real estate, I've got to remember to send them to you. Oh, wait a minute.
Want to get paid?
That's the job. Right. But you get to pick who your friends are. Mm-hmm. And so the people that we've always associated with are the people we're most likely to become like, unfortunately. So associate yourself with people who really drive a referral business. And Brian Buffini, as you had on the picture earlier, he's the master at that.
Yeah. And Nick, for me, it's not like we advertise this or we market this, but after a while we'll have someone who will send us a referral and then maybe send us a second referral. And then we're like, okay, they've got the ability to do it. They've got the skill level. They got the network to do it. And then it's a sit down conversation. Say, hey, do you want to get paid for these referrals?
It's definitely something that agents should have in the back of their head. It's a mindset shift from just getting referrals. I do want to clarify the top points is look for people who want to come work for you. They're not necessarily working for you. They are, as we've talked about so many times on this podcast, when they get into real estate conversations, which they will, because we all do, no matter what we do for a living, real estate is something we talk about with other people. Your name should be coming up. Those that are the best at sending you conversations they've had and say, hey, I was talking to so-and-so and they told me I should call you. Those are the individuals that are consistent in your life. Those are the ones that should be in that conversation with you.
And it's not always your family either.
Most of the time it's not.
Most of the time it's not.
Correct.
It's not.
Yeah.
No, for me, I mean, we've got several folks from Luke in our ambassador program.
Yeah. That took effort.
Bartenders are the best.
Uber
Teachers
drivers
are the best. What teachers get into teaching because they want to teach. No one gets into it for the money. But eventually a lot of them get out because of the money. But I'm an extra,
NAR had not NAR.
5 referral fees a year.
Emerson Association of Realtors said something a while back, and they were looking at it, and there was a large percentage of all the licensees that are in the state of Arizona. There was a large percentage of them that were teachers. They came from the teaching industry, and sometimes they only do it in the summer. Sometimes they really can't have that second job. But to your point, they're super referral people.
Yeah. All right. So then have them sign up. So they go out and get their real estate license. And so this becomes the question, and we don't have time to get into it. And I say that because Todd will get into it.
Absolutely.
But you have to do the math of what is it going to cost me if I am a referral agent to actually join West USA, and I'm adding up the monthly fees and the annual E&O fee, and then what is my transaction fee, and I got to add that up, and is it worth it as a referral agent to become a licensed agent with West USA or join, and which a lot of people don't know, we do have a sister company called Referral Realty, which is designed for people who don't want to pay board dues, MLS dues, but receive referral fees. But then you also got to know what you can and what you can't do. And so we have a handout that when we sit down with people and we talk about this. But know what those costs are so that when you're talking with these folks, you can give them an educated perspective of what might be the best option. And then train them on how to sell you. And again, with Referral Realty, you got to be very careful of what they can say and what they can't say as far as real estate conversations. But they can talk about you and they can talk about your services. And then the most important thing is you got to train them how to hand off the referral. So if their friend says, "Yeah, I would like to talk to Nick," what happens and how is that process? And for me, it's a text introduction is the best way for me.
Yeah. So the two pieces here that I wanted to bring up was, number one, we do have West USA Choice. And I think that if I had a choice between the two organizations at this particular moment, I'd be highly recommending to people that they look at the Choice program.
I forgot about that one.
Well, because it's the same as referral, but you get a larger split. So, that's a huge thing when you're talking to a person. But here's the thing. If you have somebody that the limitation on them wanting to participate in this is the fact of the cost of the school, well, we deal with tuition reimbursement all the time. Why don't you just say, listen, on your first referral, I'll also not only give you that, but I'll pay off the school fee. I'll reimburse you for the school fee. It's not that much more expensive, but it's a great way to overcome the obstacle.
Well, and then also we're going to have Dawn on it in a few minutes from Fidelity. They got a link. I get a significant discount that I send to people.
Dawn's got a link for anything you need. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the cost associated, Todd hit it on the head. West USA Choice through the MLS Choice Association opportunities is definitely what they should be looking at. They should have those costs up front. But once they get licensed, the options open up so much more for them. Being a part of West USA Choice makes, if they choose to transition into active sales, so much easier than if they were at a referral company.
Totally.
So it's definitely something that you should have a conversation with, and that should be a part of the conversation. You should be talking to them. With this license gives you the opportunity now to be an active sales agent. So they should understand that down the road, if they want to, they can do that. So you're just getting everything out. You're very transparent and open with these individuals that are getting their license.
And you're working with the same office manager you have right now. If you're already a West USA agent, for those people who aren't, then just plug into joinwestusa.com.
All right, there it is. So
Oops, there it
just just encourage, incentivize people the right way to make you money.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everybody. You got to
Yep.
stop with
No,
that.
this
We
will be
got to. It's the same people every week.
I'll talk to him.
All right. Well, I am excited to introduce everybody to not only a really good friend of mine, but more importantly, a partner for our team. Of just, I always say that when my phone rings and I look down and I see Don Chakowski's name on there, that I'm probably about to make some more money, because they just do things that help at least us and our agents that we work with make more money. So Don, I'm excited to have you, and I want to just start with just a big shout out. Thank you for Fidelity's participation in our 40-year anniversary events, and but we may not be welcome back at the casino.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
It's a blast. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was great. I think we're still on the okay list.
Okay.
But yeah, well, I tell you what, you guys mentioned Nick Butler and the ability to throw a party.
Jeez.
Every West USA event I've attended this year has been absolutely amazing, top notch. I can't wait till the gala. I was actually talking to him about that. I'm like, I might need some extra tickets. I've got a lot of people from my team who they love a good party, and so it'd be great. So,
I think he should get into wedding planning.
Well,
and baby showers.
Yeah, he's special.
No.
He's got.
Oh, agents aren't allowed to talk to him either.
No,
huh?
he's our guy.
Yeah.
If you're not at the 40 events, you're missing out big time.
Yeah.
Fouts
Go
family's
ahead.
done
Go
a
ahead
huge
and
thing, so,
put a
yeah.
big L on your
Yeah,
forehead.
big L. Yep.
Mike, thanks for the introduction, though, and I appreciate it. And it's funny, I work with a lot of different folks, and recently I've been speaking about the way that you introduced me specifically. And it's not the first time you've mentioned about the making the money, and but that's who I want to be for people, and that's who I want my sales team to be for our agent partners, our lender partners, to be the person that you have confidence that when you call, that we can help you to increase your business. And we're going to talk about some of those ways today. And there are a million different ways to be successful in the real estate industry. And so it really becomes kind of boiling it down to who you are, how you want to work. And we don't have a one size fits all. We have a one size fits one approach. And and I often talk about the pillars of who I believe that this business should be. And when we talk about that, I talk about Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. Absolutely love that book. Absolutely love the approach to business that he suggests. And so I always want to incorporate that into our helping our partners. And then exactly what to say. We do a lot of role play practice. We do a lot of that kind of stuff with our group to be really skilled at conversations. When you talk about making those introductions, how important is it that the person is asking questions of the person on the other side of that conversation, because those questions will lead you to the answers that help folks out. So we'll talk about those things a little bit. And I also want to mention seven levels of communication. You guys are talking about, when you're talking about the ambassadors and you're talking about all that, the 7 levels of communication is absolutely amazing. When I first started in this business, that was one of the books that was recommended to me very early on. And I spent time like actually doing book clubs around it and all that, because there's just so much value.
Well, they don't have a pop-up version, so Nick hasn't read it yet.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll get somebody to act it out for him.
Thanks, Don. See, this is why Don, you're in.
Yeah,
Mike, you're out.
So, okay, well, I'm gonna go through my slides and talk about those five big points. And we're not limited to those 5 things, but these are the things that I see some of the most successful teams going down one or more of these roads when they're looking at the way to be successful in business. And it all starts with your database. No matter who you are, how long you've been in Arizona, who your connections are, you know people who can help you know people. And so that database is going to be your moneymaker. So leveraging that. But we've got tools that can help you actually maximize that as well. Todd, could you imagine if you sent me over a list of 500 people and I said, okay, these 30 are looking at doing something in the next 90 days. These are the people you need to be talking to now. And then this next group, they look like they're doing something in the next 6 months. so that, but starting to drip on them, starting to have those conversations. And so we can help people do that. We also have a system where you can manage that database yourself by uploading it into the system. It will send them ongoing communications. It will also kind of like the HomeBot kind of communications. It will do that same kind of open rates, all of that. But then also you can get to include your vendor partners. So when they start reaching out, needing a painter or needing somebody who's going to do some remodeling around the house, you're getting notified of all that. So you know that there's something going on in their life that makes it more likely that they're going to be doing something, and constantly gives them a rating about how active they are. Are they clicking on the listings? Are they clicking on their So we have systems. In fact, we recently team leader, we saved him about $7,000 a year versus other resources that he was using. So if you're interested in those type of resources, reach out to me, reach out to your Fidelity sales executive, and they can help you get involved with that. We do a lot around farming as well. Could you imagine, Nick, if we looked at your neighborhood and we said these 8 of your neighbors are really looking at doing something in the next 6 months. Time for you to start getting in communication with them, or a neighborhood that you just desire to sell. It doesn't have to be your neighborhood. And so we can help you pull those type of stats. So there are so many resources similar to these things. And I caution people, it's not about the name of the resource. It's about the best practices around it.
Yeah,
and that's where my team is going to invest their time with you to help you take these tools and wrap them in best practices. We can help you on knowing what to say and what that communication should look like, how it should feel. So we can help you put together your overall strategy on that, put a timeline out, architect it all out for you, and then have those strategies to move
this
forward.
This is a missing component for me, in the sense of, like, Nick, a couple of weeks ago we talked about building a neighborhood Facebook group, in which I've done, and Nicole, who's my sales executive, she did not only just a great job of here's my map. I need names and phone numbers and addresses, and we put together a mailing campaign to invite people to the group. But also Facebook has this function that you can invite people via email.
Right.
And so I needed the emails, but now where my missing component is, and I'm gonna have to talk to Nicole and get her help on this, is like, who in this quadrant that I'm marketing to, who's looking to transact in the next, because my next door neighbor's got a for sale sign on their front yard. My name's not on it. And every time I come home, it just, and it's my fault. So it's like, I'm not mad at my neighbor.
Right.
I'm just mad at myself.
Yeah. Well, and that we can help you with all of that type of data. If you have a name, phone number, email address, we can put them into the other systems I was talking about, the database systems, and we can also help you get the name, phone number, and email, and we can help you get all of those things so you can build your systems around there. And then again, what that communication should look like.
Now, I can't see Nick, but I know he's just freaking out.
I have 2 things to say.
So we need to talk about the federal do not call list.
Well,
I can see smoke. I can see
that
smoke.
was the second
I can
thing.
feel smoke
The more
coming out of his
important
ears.
thing here is it's the chicken and the egg. What you guys are doing, agents can collect data. You guys are going to help them focus the data they should be prioritizing.
Right.
But the more important thing here that agents need to realize and understand and identify, if they don't have systems, if they don't have the way to have conversations, if they don't know how to ask right questions, the data is meaningless, and they're going to burn through these lists. And yes, the second thing, and I'm sure Don and his team are very compliant in this, but I have to say it. If you're receiving lists,
His new name is No Fun Nick.
I'm 100%.
No Fun Nick.
I'm gonna get a name badge. If you're getting lists from anyone, and no matter how trusted they are, it is your sole responsibility to verify the individual is not on the federal do not call list.
And that is really important. And we do flag those for the individuals that are coming out on these lists. And so you might want to try a different kind of communication for those folks. It's funny. It's 110 out today. Door knocking, probably not real high on the priority list for folks, but it doesn't mean it's not successful.
Correct.
Right. And so we just need to make it a couple more months so we get through the heat of Arizona. And then door knocking is a real thing again. And having a conversation, when you bring value, that's what you should be, when we talk about these conversations, you will just burn through a list if you don't have value. And so you need to be able to do that. We can help you with those.
Well, I break into Nick's office because I've got a key, and then I call from his phone in there. So if there's anyone gets in trouble, it's going to be him.
Is that where there's chocolate on my phone?
Yeah. So here's a couple of things that I just want to circle back to, because Don, you said this in the very beginning, but it always gets lost sometimes in translation or on the third or fourth slide, which is, this isn't a cookie cutter thing that an agent comes in and you lay all the stuff you have for them on the table. This is where you go and you have a conversation one-on-one with that individual. To your point, maybe door knocking is something that someone with a high drive is like, yeah, I'm into it. Let's go. 22 doors equals one listing. I'm in. But the thing is that there might be other people that go, well, I have to know more before I go up to the front door and knock on it. That's okay. That's just not your activity. Every activity works.
Right. And that's the thing. You have to decide what's right for you.
Right.
Because if I sat and told somebody who would never, ever go knock on a stranger's door, if I sit there and I spend an hour explaining them to how to be a great door knocker, they're still not going to go knock on the door.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We shouldn't try to convince people to do things that aren't their thing. What we should do is we should be asking the questions to help uncover what is their thing. A lot of people come to us and say, oh, well, I want to be social media. I want people to come to me through social media. Well, we got a video studio. We've got all of these things. We've got great coaches around that stuff that we can connect people with. But, I don't know people who woke up one day successful just because they just folks out there who are successful and do have business as a result, have their database.
And I don't know anyone that loves door knocking.
Right.
No. They're just people that are really good at it.
Right.
I mean, so sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone. People go, I don't like door knocking. I don't either. I don't like cold calling. I'm good at it, but I don't like it.
Well, that's why there's retail and there's field sales. Field sales is kind of like the thing for the D and the I, right? The high driver and the high influencer. You wake up in the morning and you go out and you get past the gatekeeper, you talk to people, and you get business from it. But the other 80% of the real estate world is S's and C's. And those are the people that really work best in a retail environment where the business comes to them versus them having to go find it.
All right. Well, Don, now you're getting
really
carried. You're getting carried away now.
Yeah,
This is now getting ridiculous. You're gonna tell me that I should pick up my phone.
Well, you know what? There are listings on the other end of it, but
It isn't true.
But the reality is, again, though, that this should be something practiced, and it should be something that you should get comfortable with if this is going to be part of one of your legs of your business. I tell people all the time, I'm a psychopath. I love dialing. I just say that to convince myself I'm just like everybody else.
Sure.
I pick up the phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm calling realtors that have probably gotten already 10 calls from other title companies the last week. And the last thing they want to hear is some other nonsense about how this is going to change their life and not have anything to back it up. And so, but I convince myself, well, actually, I do believe that I do bring value to people and I do help them make more money. And it's important that we have these conversations. I have to know how to navigate through those challenging conversations. There's a YouTube video by a gentleman named Derek Lipsky. It's like 15 years old, this video. And I show it to my team once a year. Whenever I'm doing classes on cold prospecting, this guy's a maniac. Like, he's on the phone. The lady hangs up on him. And it's probably about a 15-minute video. So he's probably about 8 minutes in, she hangs up on him. And it's an expired listing. And he then says, I think I'm going to call her back. Yeah. And he calls her back and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We got disconnected. And she said, she's like, no, I hung up on you. and he gets the listing at the appointment at the end. Because he's over the top, and I don't encourage people to go and be that version. But I do encourage people to watch and to, there are always those pieces that we can take away that fit for us. So if you call with intention, if you call bringing value, if you call and you believe that you are the right agent to help somebody sell their home, then why wouldn't you want to share that with them? Mm-hmm. And so, but coordinating it, scheduling it, I tell the story years ago, I was calling to set up a home tour. And I looked at my phone and I was just going through and I was being selective of who I was calling. I felt like I made about 1,000 calls. I was so tired. I had 3 houses now on the tour. I was just done. I'm like, okay, how many calls did I make? I go through my phone and I'm scrolling. It was 7. It was 7 calls I had made. It was gross. And I was just like, okay, you got to be better than this. So you have to block the time. You have to know what you're going to say. Practice with your peers, practice with your Fidelity sales executive. We hold classes on this. When we do our sales academy, we do things around this. We want to help our people be more successful. You talk about fight or flight. When you bring the fight to the game, then you're going to find more success there. So okay, and then my last slide.
I want to go back to that one. There's some really good stuff there.
Nick
Easy, buddy.
Plump in either.
No, there's just a lot of really good things there, and we could probably spend a lot of time talking about this. Mike, you go first, and I'll follow you up.
Well, I was gonna say, if there's a good chance, I mean, a really good chance, if you do not schedule this and put this on your calendar, it is not going to happen.
Oh, you'll find a way to be busy.
And my rule of thumb is, and I get it, if I'm going to say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to prospect between 2 and 3, and then one of my clients calls and wants to go look at 3 properties at 2 o'clock, that's fine. Go show the properties, but you better reschedule that hour, because if you don't reschedule that hour, there's a good chance it's not going to happen.
Well, if you have to sell, good.
Well, one of the reasons why people duck this is because it's uncomfortable, because we're not putting the reps in. The more you do this, the easier it becomes and the less you hide from it. Now, I understand it's uncomfortable to role play. I get it. I don't like role playing. What I've started to do, and what's gotten me out of the I'm too scared to role play with a human being, I've used my AI. I set up a GPT and I have conversations. And as weird as that sounds, it's a safer place than having a human being who's going to judge me, make fun of me, and think about things that I'm saying. As I got more comfortable with that, now I have a little more confidence to have that conversation back and forth. The point is, you need to. So if you have trusted partners that are going to set up time for you to do role play practice, call practice, you need to be taking advantage of that, because you're just wasting time if you're not. You need to be good on the phone. You need to be good having a conversation, whether it's in person, a phone, or whatever. These practices and these reps get you there.
That AI thing is great, because my son, he set one up for our team that's just real estate specific, and it's pretty challenging. But the last thing I'll say, because I know Todd wants to jump in here on the meetings, if you don't ask for the meeting, then I don't know. What are we doing here, right? But people don't like to ask for the meetings because they fear rejection and so forth. But if you've taken the time to call and have a conversation with them, so what we do on our team is we never ask to meet. It's always option driven. All right, Don, we need to get together and go over this, strategy to sell your house tomorrow at 2 or Wednesday at 4. Which one of those 2 work best?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's
sales.
A great way to set up that meeting, give different options. Well, this week's rough. Can we do it next Monday? That's a great response as well. So
I think the 2 biggest obstacles are always, I don't know what to say. I don't feel comfortable in my own skin. I'm not sure I can negotiate somebody into an appointment. And then I come to realize with people, or I try to help people realize that stop trying to convert people. If your method of making that phone call was to convert, your mentality is so off on that call, you're not going to do a good job. And on the other side of that is when you do reach out and have a conversation with someone and you don't know what to say, like that very first listing appointment you go on, what's the best method? The best method is to ask a lot of questions.
Right.
Turn the person who's talking to the other person. You ask dramatic questions that can't be answered yes or no, and then they end up opening their mouth and start talking. And Don, you said this earlier. If you ask enough questions, that person's going to tell you all of their objections. And that in itself is satisfying their objectives, not you needing to understand them, but you actually allowing them to bring them out into the light and have a conversation. And then your conversion happens. To Mike's point, your ultimate objective is really to position them to want more, to say, or like Mike interjects, this is actually more than maybe you or I have time for right this particular moment. Is there a better time? Maybe tomorrow at 2 or Wednesday at 4. But again, what you're doing is you're bringing value. And if you ask enough questions, you didn't have to bring it. Your questions brought it.
Right.
So I just want people to understand how simple conversation is when you stop trying to have all the answers.
Yeah. And we talked about the AI stuff, and ChatGPT will role play with you, all that stuff. I've got access to other software that will be a coach for you, that will listen to your calls. It will give you a score. I've got access to new software it's only out for certain on Apple systems right now. But that one actually coaches you during the call. Hey, did you ask about this yet? Hey, don't forget to talk about this. And it's just amazing. I think it's a lot for people to process when they're in a call, but there's just so much out there to help us get better at having those conversations. So I have a couple slides left, and smart mailing is one of those. And we've got access to postcards that will be specific to each individual address, and they have QR codes on them so they can scan them and then tell you who scanned them. Which address scanned them and what they did once they landed on that home valuation website. Did they click on the little scale saying their house was nicer or not nicer? Also about your approach to the mailing, going through and we can help you find those most likely movers. When you're doing those postcards, we've got a system for when you have a transaction, the 25 most likely sellers around that, getting all of that put together and just hitting those folks instead of hitting the people who just moved into the neighborhood, which is just like throwing money right into the garbage can while you're standing there. So we want to be that resource for people. Again, when it comes to mailings, that they're using are the things that we're doing, but with the best practices that we've learned. We're closing hundreds and hundreds of residential resale transactions a month. We get to see a lot. And so we get to bring a lot of value to folks. And that really brings me to my last slide. And that is, you guys have talked about this so much already through today, but the networking and building the relationships, so much is about who you know. And for me, I look at my career, at the end of this week is my 12th year anniversary with Fidelity. And when I started, and Todd, you met me way back then, and I knew nothing about anything. And I was like, oh, please, I hope nobody asks me what title and escrow is. And, just come, let's go have a coffee. And I don't know what I'm going to talk about yet, but we'll figure it out while we're there. And, but the way I learned things was by being around the right people. And so people that asked me the questions or asked me about things that helped me to discover what people need and what people are looking for in this industry. And like I said at the very beginning, it really is individualized and it really comes to what each individual is looking for. But I don't want a relationship with Mike where I'm just taking, right? I don't want a relationship where it's just, hey, Mike, if you could just toss me your next escrow, it'll be great. That's not who I want to be. I want to be the one who Mike is getting results because of what I bring to him as well. So throughout my 12 years, I've been really successful at building relationships with people that can bring more value to our partners. There's a credit union I work with. When I built that relationship with them, my presentation to them was, what if we built something that won for you guys? Your organization had agents bringing in more opportunities for your organization. But the realtors that we're going to bring in are going to have a win because you're introducing them to your members. We're going to have the win, and that we're going to be the one who gets to have that value that we bring to everybody. And most importantly, your members are going to win because they have a highly skilled realtor who's working with them. They're working with in the credit union and the confines of all the values that the credit union brings, and then working with a title company that they knew that they could trust. And so building those type of relationships are really where we've been focused on. You guys talk about Brian Buffini, and I'm such a big fan. I'll be going to leadership in October. And so every time that I have an opportunity to hear Brian speak, I'm all about it. And then, but we also work with Tom Ferry. So if you're interested we're going to be, getting folks some interest or some information on how they can stream that. I'm going on Sunday next week. I leave for Anaheim to be there for 4 days for his event there. So if anybody has interest in any of those things, let us know that as well, because we can get people connected there.
That's awesome. I remember way back when you talked about it. And, the thing is Michael Mayer. You brought up Michael Mayer earlier. Nick always chuckles when I say this because he knows.
I don't.
Well,
I appreciate it.
Mike, no,
Michael, Michael Mayer is like, I mean,
no, he just never talks about my book. That's
Yeah.
what makes me chuckle. Like,
how many times has anybody that's been at West USA heard me talk about, the 7 levels of communication by Michael Mayer? And if you're a brand new agent or not, but even if you're a brand new agent, how important that book is, because Don, everything I've heard come out of your mouth today, and again, we've been contacts for a very long time now, but what I've heard is I did not hear one sales pitch. What I heard was, I didn't hear anybody pleading about all the services your company offers. What I heard was coming from Contribution, which is the Michael Mayer book. I heard you saying, hey, how can I impact you and your business? And if I do a good job at that, don't I deserve the reward just automatically? And so I just want to give you kudos, because that's actually the way every single real estate agent should be, really, truly, considering your services. Don't convert people, help lead them to the next step.
Yeah. Well, and I think the escrow side, and hopefully none of my escrow officers are listening to this, but that's the bare minimum of the service that we should be providing, are those title and escrow services. There's over 200 companies in the Valley doing what we do. And so how do we differentiate ourselves? By really being a great partner to our people. And again, that depends on what you want it to look like, not what I want it to look like. And so we have to customize that. And Will Guidera says it best. I've been fortunate enough to hear him speak multiple times. And one size fits one. And that's who we want to help people be, because not everybody's going to be successful doing the same thing. But I can tell you, we've got some mega agents in this market who are very successful that do things nothing alike. And so successful at a very high level, yet doing it the way they want to do it.
I think this slide is one of the more powerful ones you've shown today. I mean, to your point, there's 44,000 active licensees in Arizona right now, I think, or in Arnold.
I thought it was like 80 something.
It's 80,000 licensees, 44 active, according to ADRE's last the stats. So talk about, a lot of people doing similar things. This slide is something we talk about a lot. We do at West USA a lot of networking events, happy hours, whatever you want to call them. And agents like to just kind of shield themselves from going into the office and going to these events. They're not going to help me with my time. If you're not having conversations with industry partners, with your fellow realtors, those that are working in this industry, you're not growing inside this space. There's a lot of books and podcasts for sure you can listen to, but if you're not talking to your peers, you're doing your business a disservice.
I could spend a whole hour on this slide.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the crux of my business. I would say 80% of my business comes from my networking efforts.
Yeah.
And when I started, it's funny, you were afraid to have that cup of coffee. I remember I started, and I was the brokers I was with, New Home Information Centers, and under Mark Arns, God rest his soul. And I remember I got my license. I paid all this money for my board dues and MLS, and I sat in there because we had floor time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hope to God nobody walks in right now and asks me to help them buy or sell, because I have no freaking clue. But I started just day one. I hung out with the winners and learn from them. And I'm telling you, most top producing agents will give you the time of day. Yeah, they will, because we all have egos, and talking about ourselves feeds our ego. So I leveraged that. And then when I got into the team leading side of things, some of my really good friends are big giant team leaders, and it's how I learned, and it's how I grew. I'm we didn't have podcasts back then, but that's not going to help. You just got to learn from, you got to hang out with people. And then our clients are attorneys and CPAs and things like that. Cause we just think we could do a whole thing. We should probably do something on networking groups and creating networking groups.
That's a good idea.
But I'm going to write that down. It's really good stuff.
Yeah. Well, and it is, for myself, I learned so much from being around. I knew, okay, if I wanted to get in a conversation with somebody, what questions I needed to start with, where those questions led me. And that is where, I found my success in this business. When I was a sales executive, I think I was having, close to 1,500 transactions a year closing under my my partners bringing in. That's huge.
Yeah.
And so it's just been great. But the networking is really what helped me get to where I needed to get to. So,
well, it's what helps everybody
Yeah,
get to
that's
wherever
true.
they're going
Yeah,
to. It's just
right.
people, it takes a long time for people to come to that realization that it isn't the next ad dollar you're spending necessarily. It's how well you're nurturing the people that you're already in a relationship with.
yeah, no doubt. So,
All right. Well, unfortunately, we don't have any contact information on the slide. So
well, that's good. That's good. I like to be as anonymous as possible. So, okay. Well, so if you Google Don Tchaikovsky, well, good luck spelling that last
Yeah,
name.
good luck.
Yeah.
I still have to look up
Give
my
me-
phone.
Give a good phone number here, Don.
Yeah. So 702-683-9087 is my cell phone.
Let's go. Let's do
90
that.
what?
9087.
Let's do that slowly.
702-683-9087. So it's a Vegas phone number. I've never lived in Vegas. I have a Vegas phone number. I tell people my phone likes to party. So so that's why I have a Vegas number. But yeah, so and I can connect you with somebody on my team who will, based on where you are around the valley, and make sure that we have somebody that's going to be bringing some value to you. And
Don's number is in the chat if you want to pull that as well.
Perfect.
Yeah. And if also you want information, you can email me if you want Don's information at mikew@westusa.com. That's mikew@westusa.com. And I'll get you in touch with Don and his team. Don, thank you.
Yeah.
Great
Thank you, guys.
stuff.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
Yes,
Yeah.
appreciate you.
All right. We're going to leave everybody with the quote of the day, Nick.
I'm excited.
Can't wait.
Here we go.
Oh, if people like you, Nick, they'll listen to you, but if they trust you, they'll do business with you. Appreciate everybody joining us today. Go out and sell a home.